It's willful deceit. They're programming our kids. How about the evolution of man? Where is all these, these intermediate steps, the missing links, as they were? They say there's tons of them. Ramapithecus, Piltdown Man, Java Man, Nebraska Man, famous Lucy, and all kinds of others. If you want to pick up the DVD, you can read this all out, but for time I won't read it all to you. But every single one of those has been proven either to be an actual man or a fraud proposed by men trying to prove evolution. And the thing is, they come upon them every once in a blue moon, very rarely. And the fact of the matter is, if they were there should be billions of them. And there's not. And every single one of them, orangutan skulls and human jaws formed by a pig tooth, all kinds of silly things they've done to make these supposed missing links. Folks, there is no missing link. The fact is, God created us after our kinds, and it doesn't change. So what do the evolutionists have to say about Darwin and his theory? I've said for years that speculations about the origin of life lead to no useful purpose, as even the simplest living system is far too complex to be understood in terms of the extremely primitive chemistry scientists have used in their attempts to explain the unexplainable that happened billions of years ago. God cannot be explained away by such naive thoughts. Ernst Chappell, world-famous biochemist. The more statistically improbable a thing is, the less we can believe that it just happened by blind chance. Superficially, the obvious alternative to chance is an intelligent designer. Richard Dawkins. Just heard him talk about that, right? Michael Behe. The fourth and most powerful reason for science reluctance to embrace a theory of intelligent design is also based on philosophical considerations. Many people, including many important and well-respected scientists, just don't want there to be anything beyond nature. They don't want a supernatural being to affect nature, no matter how brief or constructive the interaction may have been. In other words, like young Earth creationists, they bring in a priori philosophical commitment to their science that restricts what kind of explanations they will accept about the physical world. Sometimes this leads to rather odd behavior. And this is from an evolutionist. What did Charles Darwin say? Why then is not every geological formation, every stratum full of such intermediate links? Geology assuredly does not reveal any such finely graduated organic change, and this perhaps is the most obvious and serious objection which can be urged against the theory. The explanation lies, as I believe, in the extreme imperfection of the geological record. Dr. David Ropp, in this statement, basically says 120 years later, we have less proof now than Darwin did in 1859. The evolution theory has gotten worse, not better. The evidence is far less. It hasn't gotten any better. And here's a telling statement, and I love this. For I am well aware that scarcely a single point is discussed in this volume on which facts cannot be adduced, often apparently leading to conclusions directly opposite to those which I have arrived. Look at this underlined bold. A fair result can be obtained only by fully stating and balancing the facts and arguments on both sides of each question. And this here is impossible. Who wrote that? Charles Darwin, in the introduction to his Origin of the Species. He said we should be looking at the evolution and the creation evidence, and we should be holding them up to each other and seeing which one makes sense. Maybe it won't line up with what I said, but we definitely should be giving it equal time. Why do you say that? Because back then, evolution was laughed at. It was a joke. It didn't make any sense, and it's still the same joke today. But back then, he was just trying to get equal time. Little did he know that now we can't get creation taught anywhere because it's considered religion, and evolution is considered science. They're both faith-based. Professor Louis Benor, former president of the Biological Society of Strasbourg and director of the Strasbourg Museum, evolutionism is a fairy tale for grown-ups. This theory has helped nothing in the progress of science. It is useless. This is what science says. It doesn't make any sense. It's a fairy tale for grown-ups. You read to your kids the story of the princess kissing the frog and he becomes a prince. Evolution doesn't need a princess, just millions of years. Just have a frog sit around for millions of years, he'll become that prince. It's a fairy tale. There's no proof in that. But we're getting that shoved down our throat all the time.